I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. And at that point, novelty theory can come out of the woods, because eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's just too nuts. It's not enough to say it's nuts. You have to explain why it's so nuts. So between now and 2012, the next 14 years, I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, and at the same time, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, race baiting, homophobia, famine, starvation, because the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed. The collapse of the socialist world, the rise of the internet, these are changes so immense, nobody could imagine them ever happening. And now that they have happened, nobody even bothers to mention what a big deal it is. The fact that there is no such thing as the Soviet Union, people never talk about it anymore. But when I was a kid, the notion that that would ever change was beyond conceiving. So the good news is that as primates, we're incredibly adaptable to change. Put us in a desert, we survive. Put us in the jungle, we survive. Under Hitler, we survive. Under Nixon, we survive. We can put up with about anything, and it's a good thing because we're going to be tested to the limits.
Just gotta get situated. Adjust my hat. Alright. Alright guys, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, get ready for a very weird, strange ride, because that's what it is. So, it's weird. I started off this channel wanting to make like weed stoner content, and here I am talking about altered states of consciousness and the I Ching and like Terence McKenna's novelty theory, and here I am, man. I don't know how I got here, but I did. So, but it's awesome. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of it and all its weirdness. And I guess if I have to embrace that, then I'm happy to. You know, I'm not gonna sit back and make myself feel bad or weird about something anymore, you know? Because I mean, like, obviously I know people are gonna look at me like sitting here in a cloak making a YouTube video and be like, what the fuck, you know? And it's funny to me, it's funny, but to me it's I'm happy, you know? And it's just like I'm happy sitting here doing this, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters, man. You know? Because I want to radiate that. Like, I want to radiate that happiness out into the world. Like, as much as I can. You know? And I've been scared to talk about some things for a lot of reasons, but I'm not scared anymore. You know, I just watched a video, and it just inspired me so much, and it's the first time I've seen this YouTuber, and he's awesome, man. He's talking about, like, you know, just staying positive, and, like, you know, how, you know, we all pass on someday, like, we all die one day, and we gotta live this life to the fullest, and, you know, and it just got me thinking, you know, stop waiting for the perfect time, you know, and for me, that just hit so deep, and it resonated with exactly what I was going through. So I just came on here to just be who I am and make this video, and yeah, I just want to talk about something. And what I want to talk about is, you know, the theory that Terence McKenna had about time. He had a program called Timewave 0, and it went, I forget exactly the start date, but it ended in 2012. And his end date, which like he somehow integrated all the like hexagrams and like things like that, the I Ching, which is the ancient Chinese divination system. So, but he, it was based on a lot of that, and it just so happened that the Mayan calendar's end date was also 2012, December 24th or 25th, I want to say. I think it was 24th. I could be wrong, though. Yeah, it was December 24th, yeah. And I just remembered a memory because I was talking about it to my friend earlier, and I was like, oh, yep, that's it. But it's wild because, like, so what I'm coming into play with is just an idea that I had, an idea that I had one day, and I'll tell you guys about when I had the idea, like when it fully hit me, and I was like, oh, there's something going on here. So the idea that I have is that it didn't really end, right? The time wave didn't end. Like, it just fractaled into another one. So now novelty is moving faster than it was then, which is exactly what Terence would say. It's like novelty moves faster as it progresses, it moves faster and faster and faster and faster, So the next resonance wave is faster than the one before it, So our timeline right now is in resonance to another one, but it's moving faster in this one. So things are happening faster and more closer together, if that makes sense. And what I did, which, they didn't have artificial intelligence back then. They didn't have AI. They didn't have all the supercomputer, things that we carry on in our pocket with us, a phone, and, like cell phones, like this, like smartphones, like today. They didn't have that. They had computers, but not like this. And I know a lot of people, are really quick to be against artificial intelligence and AI, but I think it's how you use it. It's all about how you use it, and it's getting more and more advanced, So if you use it not to do the work, like not to create something for you, but put your ideas and your creation and your thoughts and your experiences into it and have it like, piece it all together, I guess, or, analyze things for you. So I use it as a tool, right? A tool, but not in a bad way. I don't just mean like, because it's an amazing thing, So I don't just want to treat it like it's a, piece of nothing. Like it's cool, but just use it in a good way. So what I did was I was like, okay, and I don't know. Now I'm revising it now, but I don't know why I started with 2015. I think I did. I don't know why, but it started with that. Okay, let me back up here. Let me backtrack. So I realized I progressed a little bit too much with what I was going to say. So forgive me. But so let me just talk about when this idea hit me. And what I'm using AI for. So this is going to be controversial, and I don't really talk about things like this on this channel, but I will mention this and only this. So when Charlie Kirk got assassinated, I just I don't know, it's just the fact that someone got assassinated like that, and it was like a big figure, and like just for having different ideas, basically, it just it was just like, wow, like that could really, like, that's wild that happened. Like it's horrible, a horrible thing, and very tragic, but it is just wild that occurred. And it was just like, I was like, wow, it's just, I have no words for how crazy it was, right? So it got me thinking, I'm like, things are just getting way too weird. And then it just hit me like, you know, what if all this is a pattern? Like, what if it really, what if time really is like all repeats itself, you know? And I started to think about Terence McKenna's time wave theory. I'm like, okay, you know, what can I do? So the thought occurred to me, I'm like, AI. I can put all these ideas in artificial intelligence and have it analyze these different events throughout history back to like 2015. I don't know why I chose 2015. And I recently changed it. So I gotta, to like 20. I started at 2012, which is the end of the time wave. I just figured that's the best place to start it at. So I had to analyze like different points in time, like all these major events, like things like that, and measure the time in between these events happening, and see if there's like a pattern, you know, a repeating pattern that you know, coincides with, like, I guess the way Novelty would have sped up. And there was. It was like 5 to 7 months or something. I have the papers and I have all the information and all the you know, conversations. I have it all saved, all of it. And I maybe will, I guess I could pay some of it in, but I would much rather go over it in like the daytime when I have it, you know, I'll present it out and stuff, but I will talk about it. You know, I guess I'll put a little clip in, like a little photo of the like a very early stage version of what I came out with. Hey guys, so sorry about the bad quality of this paper. It's been in my car for a few days in my satchel bag, and I set a cup of coffee on it and it kind of bled through, so yeah, it's all right. But you know, basically the way I have this set up is you have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, and so on, you know. But so it says December 2025 to March 2026, but this one starts in November. This is just a very kind of rudimentary early version of what I was coming up with to experiment with, you know. And I was just here, it's just me just experimenting with like I Ching castings just to see if it would line up. And it kind of did a little bit. It was interesting. And these are the markers. I don't know if I'll keep all that or change the layout or anything eventually, you know. This is just a printed document. It's not like the actual computer program thing, obviously, but it's a very rudimentary early version. So basically the first week is residual effects from the major shock, which is why it's called a cluster trail, or a cluster tail, sorry, and which is from the Novelty spike, which is what that is. And then going into week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5, we have cooling phases, which is just like not a very high chance of anything major happening, just like some tension building, I guess, like it says here, you know, maybe some, I guess it's just predicted kind of possible outcomes, but it's on telling what it's going to actually be, you know. This is just, you know, I guess guesstimation there, but it's I don't know, it's sorry, my stomach growls. I'm a little bit hungry. But yeah, I'm still working on it, you know. There's a lot of work that needs to go into this, but week 6 is when we have, you know, a build-up phase, which is indicators of, I guess, political and social unrest start rising. So a lot of like turmoil, basically, like, you know, geopolitical stuff, you know, a lot of tension building up in the world, especially I think the US. And then week 7, January 4th to January 10th, is going to be, I guess, the first predicted spike of Novelty, which is triggered by that Novelty spike. I guess it's weird. This is still confusing to me, but I'm trying to piece it all together the best I can. And I guess I'll show you guys the next page. Man, this paper's like all creased and squashed to heck.
but it's still ongoing, basically like it just has a ripple effect. And I'll let you guys read through that here. But it's basically like it's not really predicting things to happen like for sure. It's just like, what Terrence was saying is like, it just shows you where to look. These are just like what might happen. It's just like what might go down, This isn't set in stone. It's just like possibly what might happen after. Like the aftermath, I guess. So, yeah. It's just interesting. I just wanted to show you guys what I was coming up with there. And, yeah. Peace.
Okay. I'm sorry I didn't like include more. It's just I gotta like that's a very early version, so it's possibly it may need to be revised with like new information. But I don't know. It's seemingly it's pretty close, I think, with what's gonna happen. But I'm not sure, But anyway, what I didn't do was use the I Ching, which is what Terence did. But I've been thinking about it, and I really looked into the I Ching, and I thought, maybe this is like, maybe this is like the missing piece. So how there's like, the way I explained it to my friend was like, you ever see like a blueprint that has like different pages, and when all the pages are together, it shows the full blueprint? Okay, I feel like it's like that. So when you look at it and it's all close together, you see it. But when you peel one layer back, you only see certain parts of it. I feel like that's what I was doing. It's just one part of it. But if you put all these pieces together, it all makes the full picture, the full blueprint. And so what I'm doing right now is just studying the I Ching, everything about it, all of it, as much as I can, taking in as much information as I possibly can. Because my plan is to take all this information that I've created and came out with and put it into a digital algorithm with using like artificial intelligence somehow. And this is just my ideas right now, so I gotta learn how to implement them. So, just bear with me. But what I want to do is create an app or like a program, something you could, like he did, like Timewaves, but I want to make it like an app, like on a phone that you could download on your phone, right? Because, what does everybody have now? A phone. Almost everybody. I mean, a lot of people don't, but you know what I mean, like in general, in society. So anybody would be able to go and download this app and see the, coming waves of novelty, I guess. And it would slowly become more and more precise on where to look, because as each of these events start to happen, the novelty sparks, the algorithm, or I guess, I don't know how it would work yet, but it would plug that in to the timewave program, I guess. And it would make it more accurate. And as these states would be plugged in, the more accurate it would get, because, the patterns. And I guess I would have to figure out a way to implement like the I Ching into it to kind of, I don't know, I don't want to I'm not doing this. I feel like I have to say this. And like, I have a lot of really deep respect for Terence McKenna. And I'm not trying to like steal his ideas or anything like that. Like, this is just something that came to me. I feel like it's something I need to do. And I just feel like it's just meant to happen. I don't know. That's just a feeling that I'm getting. And my intentions with this are nothing but pure. Anything I come up with will be free to the world. I will never charge a dime for it. Ever. And I just, I like to think that way, I like to think that I can provide something like that. A lot of people are like, I just wouldn't want to profit off of this idea. But basically my idea is like, there would be an app, right, that you could download, and you would be able to see the progression. You know, maybe people, as events could happen, they could key it in, and the algorithm could research it to see if it's valid and plug it into the algorithm, something like that. That just came to me. But I feel like it would be really cool to, you know, bring some light back to that, bring some light back to novelty theory. And that's really what I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to look into it and, you know, I guess build upon it in this way, in my own way, I suppose. And, you know, I want to respect Terence McKenna and his legacy. And yeah, I guess that's all that I wanted to say in today's video. You know, I know it's kind of wild, and, you know, like, you know, whatever people are going to say, it's just, it's okay, man. It's okay. Like, I'm not on here to spread hate. I'm just on here to be myself and talk about my ideas, you know, and different ideas, you know, different ways of thinking. But I hope all of you have had a very, very, very good day or night, whatever time it is that you're from. Peace out. Have a good one. I'll see you later.